I don't know if a lot of guys know it or not, but SOR has pretty comprehensive website. This is their worldwide website. It shows all different series. TC series. TC is a pretty good series. I like that one. Other activities. GT4 Europe. British Championship. GT4 Asia. GT4 America. And then they have an overall world challenge series for all of them as well. So these are all their series. Look at all those GT3 series. So on. Then at the top they have GTTV. Then you go to SRO websites up here. You do it that way. It breaks them all down. And once you go to one of those websites, this is the European Challenge website. Also from there, you could go to SOR Esports. Boom. And that'll take you to this site. I'll go back. SOR Esports. We'll just click on the middle one. That's not the site I was looking for. Okay, here we go. They're about to start again pretty soon here. As you see, it's really close to the real site in design. Then they have something very interesting here called regulation. And now this is built into coding with to go after like the real series. There's a few things that aren't really exact as the real series, but I feel one thing that they have on here is excellent and pretty good compared to real life series. I wrote out the blue flags and all that, and all different flags. Track behavior, incident reviews and penalties, protest. Gives quite a bit of information. Let's zoom in on this a little bit so everyone can see it properly. Contacts. Flag rules. Here we go. My opinion is this, and this is purely opinion. When you're looking to develop a league, you like a game, you should find out all about the rules of that game, whether you want to develop a league or just play the game. That would be like the first thing that I do in almost any game. Try to find out the rules, whether it be, a shooter game. I'm just using examples. Shooter game, World of Warcraft, Dice, Yahtzee, Parcheesi, Risk, whatever. It doesn't matter. Take the time to read the rules. When you learn those rules, they'll tell you that you just didn't jump to conclusion that you know the rules just because you watch F1 on Sunday. F1 rule are very different, and they're much more strict for a reason that the cars are more powerful. The drivers are more at risk. These flag rules that they have for the game on SORs esports is very similar to the real life racing. And my opinion also is if you want to start a league and ACC, iRacing, R Factor, whatever. If you start a sports car league, why not use sports car rules? Why would you start a GT racing league and use F1 rules? If you want to use F1 rules, why not just go play F1? You could play F1 in iRacing. You could play F1 and R Factor. They have a million F1 mods. You could play F1 in Assetto Corsa. You could play F1 in iRacing. Any of those. Go play iRacing if you want to play iRacing rules. If you're a huge F1 fan, go play F1. Adhere to the rules of the thing that you really like so much. I personally like GT racing. I always like sports car, tin top racing more than as far as road track goes. I also like Indy cars, but to play a game, I really like sports car racing. And my local track is a sports car racing track, which I've been going to since I was a kid. I enjoy it. It gives you a different experience than a NASCAR race because the garages and packs are open. You can just walk around. You can talk to drivers. It's really cool. I like it a lot. But when you play a game, learn the rules. Yellow flags. This is their rules. Yellow flags, and these are rules that I've sent different people that have built leagues as suggestions when they were looking for suggestions for rules, and sometimes when they weren't looking for suggestions. Like I saw, there was big problems in racing, and I'd send different people the rules, and they were having chaos and arguments and everything else. I'd send them the rules, and then some people would be kind of like, mind your own business. Well, no, I'm not going to. If I'm involved with something, and I have to put up with aggravation and read other people's aggravation about things, then I'm going to interject whether people like it or not. It's that simple. And usually I stay involved in something because I like the people that are involved in it, or I enjoy a certain group of people's camaraderie. Flag rules. Yellow flag rules are enforced, and drivers must respect the no passing while under yellow rule. Drivers must be cautious and prepare for slowing down to avoid any incident ahead. Yellow flags are indicated by the game to the player on the HUD in-car and on your screen, both. So you'll see sometimes on your dashboard it will say yellow, little square will light up. Sometimes it will say double yellow. In those instances, that means be cautious, slow down to make sure you don't add to the incident. If you did that in a real life race and sped through incidents, most likely your license would be taken away. And if you did it more than once, your license definitely would get revoked, and you'd probably not be invited back in a real life race. People will see an incident up ahead and gas through it. Or people will get an incident, they're already incident and they're spinning and they're hitting the gas trying to gas out of the incident instead of hammering down on the brake or downshifting. If you're already slowed and you're hammering the gas in fifth gear, you're not going anywhere. You have to downshift. Either slow yourself down, and if you want to get started again in these type of cars, you have to be in first gear. Or you're not going anywhere. That's simple. You might as well just be in first gear anyway. Any driver ignores yellow flags is with the steward's discretion to apply a penalty. If drivers do not respect yellow flags and cause an additional incident, they may receive a severe penalty from the stewards. In my opinion, this is a training issue. I see it in so many leagues. People piling into that incidents. I would say part of the problem is the game's yellow flag system does not work very good and it's not instantaneous. Where I played years ago, a game that's 20 years old or more, when there is an incident, immediately, bam, yellow lights, yellow flags. You're going to have to wait like 2 seconds. When a blink of an eye, that flag and yellow light would be up. For some reason, a game that's made in 2018 doesn't have that. Sometimes it takes a while for the flag to come out. That includes blue flags, yellow flags. I don't know why. There's something in the coding that they need to work on. Not so much in iRacing. iRacing is pretty fast. Assetto Corsa Competizione, not so good when it comes to this. And if a guy does this, speeding up through yellow flags, race after race, boot that guy. There's plenty of racers. You don't need them. You warned them. Give them 2 warnings. Third time, you're suspended for the season. If you want your races clean and serious, then you need to clean. If you have garbage in your yard, you gotta pick up the garbage and get rid of it for it to go away. That's simple. Blue flags are advisory. Slow lap drivers can stay on their line but must facilitate the lapping car by lifting to make sure they reduce the time lost to the faster car. I'll explain that. I'll read it one more time first. Blue cars are advisory. Do people know what the word advisory means? Alexa, maximum volume. Alexa, what does the word advisory mean?
As an adjective, advisory is usually defined as of, giving, or containing an opinion or recommendation offered as a guide to action, conduct, etc. As a noun, advisory is usually defined as a report on existing or predicted conditions, often with advice for dealing with them. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for advisory.
Alexa, no thank you, but very good.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Okay. So, now that we know what advisory means, I'll read it one more time. Blue flags are advisory. Slow lap drivers can stay on their line, but must facilitate lapping car by lifting to make sure they reduce the time lost to the faster car. This rule is the same in real life racing. And if any game, including ACC, wanted it to be different, they would write it in the code for you to get a penalty for being in the way during a blue flag situation. That's simply put. Blue flag rules may be enforced more strictly in shorter sprint races, where time lost may be more crucial to the faster cars. I'm going to repeat this because this is a hot topic right here. Blue flags are advisory. Slow lap drivers could stay on the I'll say it too this way. Slow lapped drivers can stay on their line but must facilitate the lapping car by lifting to make sure they reduce the time lost to the faster car. Four, blue flag driver is not allowed to defend his track position. This is a rule in sports car racing as well. So if you're a blue car and you have someone that comes up behind you, you're not allowed to say if the one car changes lanes, you're not allowed to change lanes to take the same lane into the turn or straight or wherever. Now, sometimes that faster car is so much faster, reaction speed and everything, than the other driver that maybe the other driver's already thinking about changing lanes and it's an honest mistake. That could happen. Either way, passing into a dead left or right turn, you're in a fast car situation where you're a fast driver, even mid pack driver. Why would you take a risk on passing that guy in a corner in the first place? Say if you just got up on him, why would you dive underneath him and take a shallow turn where you could push out into him? To me, that's just bad driving. I don't care how much of a race you were in or how close a race you were in. That's just poor form. And what the blue flag driver should do after he gets through the turn is, it's not a rule in real life or showing here, but just, drive far to the right or the left, another car will pass you by. If that car is so fast and has so much more skill to you than you in the first place, then he will pass you cleanly. If not, it doesn't say much for that guy. Intentionally holding up or defending against a lapping car may determine the application of a penalty or even the disqualification of a driver by the stewards. Drivers about to be lapped have to behave in a predictable way without sudden changes of direction. This is coming up is very, very important, guys. Driver in front must not stay ahead of a lapping car within a blue flag 1.5 seconds of the distance with the car behind closing in for more than one full lap. So if faster drivers behind you and it's a whole lap behind you, 1.5, and you haven't moved, you're wrong. And that's pretty much going to be the same in most real life racing as well. Unless your car is mechanically garbage, and then they'll flag you out of the way. They'll warn you with a flag. If you don't comply with that rule, then you'll be asked to bring it to the pits. This is important right here. A lot of these rules they make up from fantasy world rules. Some guy thinks he's brilliant, makes up a rule that you must pass within 4 flags because the Grand Poobah, King Tut, who thinks he's now a racing guru that runs a league, thinks this is the way it should be. I'm sorry, but that person's wrong, and to be honest, they don't know what they're talking about. Because if you get on a short straight, those 4 flags could be misinterpreted. Some people say 4 corners. 4 corners would be even more fair. But 4 flags, certain tracks, in certain games, the flagmen are not put in the correct position either. And 4 flags could be either super close, not fair for passing driver or passee, or they could be super far. So if that rule was super far, now you got people grumbling because it's too far. This is the rule you should be going by right here. Drivers in front must not stay ahead of a lapping car within blue flag 1.5 seconds of the distance of the car behind, closing in for more than one full lap. Very easy to read and understandable. That guy might be racing another driver. He might be in traffic. It might Maybe he's unsteady. Maybe, you know, he's actually thinking like, how can I let this guy go in a safe way? One lap is a long time. A half a lap is plenty of time. You've been on a straight, that's plenty of time to let the person go by. And oh yeah, the other day, yesterday or day before, I had one guy, nice guy, but he comes up and he says in a chat, "The leader takes precedent." Blah blah blah. You know what? You're wrong. 100% wrong. Because this is the rule right here. If you have the leader behind you, you should want to get out of his way. But again, I don't know if people could understand this or not. Written right here. It's pretty self explanatory, isn't it? I mean, I'm probably sure a 10-year-old could understand it. When I was 10, I understood it. My father taught me these rules. Blue flags are advisory. Slow lap drivers could stay on their line, but must facilitate the lapping car by lifting to make sure they reduce the time loss of a faster car. We just heard Alexa just give a definition of advisory. If a 10-year-old can understand that, why can't an adult understand that? That just blows my mind. Back to this. Drivers in front must not stay in a lapping car within blue flag 1.5 seconds of the distance between the car closing for more than one full lap. That means that driver, if he doesn't want to come out of his line within a lap for whatever reason that he has, he's entitled to that. And aggressively driving, bumping him, and acting like a general buffoon in excessively, overly aggressive driving is just as bad as the guy that's blocking you. It's buffoonery. The lapping car may use the flashing lights to indicate intention to pass or indicate the passing move. What blows my mind is about how many people want to make sports car racing, F1 racing. People, they're not the same. Nor are they the same rules. Nor how fast or good you might be at a specific game does not mean you can just make up rules as you go along. There's rules for a reason. Lap drivers are allowed to unlap themselves as long as they can pull away after passing driver. You know that other thing about the leader is the precedent, blah blah blah. That is announcer BS for TV. I was just watching this whole weekend, and another driver I was watching with in a league that I'm in commented, "Look at all these cars passing at each other at various laps. Some are on, the lead lap. Some are 4 laps down. They're all passing each other, being courteous, getting by, waiting, being patient, everything else. Not an issue. Maybe they have an issue and it's reported after the race, but on the track, they're not running into each other like lemmings. I mean, don't be a wazzle, people. Lap drivers are allowed to unlap themselves as long as they can pull away after passing the driver that has a lap advantage. It is at the discretion of the car in front to facilitate the move. This is important. I see a lot of people that go off track and then think because they're faster, they could just be an annoying harasser to the car in front of them. And I wish I had $1 for every guy that goes, I'm going to pressure him to make a mistake. You know what? You, sir, are a jerk. Because if you want another competitor to make a mistake at your own benefit, that is not sportsmanship like. You are a jerk. And there's no getting around that. If you want to make someone else make a mistake on purpose, you have the personality of being a complete ass. And that's unsportsmanship. That's completely ungentlemanly and unsportsmanlike conduct, in my opinion. The car with the lap advantage is not required to allow the lap car back in front, and the car behind has no right to attack the car in front unless the move is being facilitated or suggested by the car lead by using indicators, lifting the accelerator, or keeping one side of the track. Depending on the race format, each driver should be able to gauge the necessity of the unlapped maneuver. I see this in iRace. I watch a lot of iRacing footage, the live races. And a lot of times I listen to the announcers and they don't know the rules. Completely clueless. And the biggest cluelessness that I see is when people say it's a racing incident. No, sir. The racing incident occurred because you do not know the rules nor abide by said rules. That created the racing incident where there is almost always a fault, just like a car crash on the road when you're driving your real car. Generally and rarely at the same time, rarely is it not the fault of someone, or someone's either going to get the ticket or have to pay the bill. It's that simple. It's the same in racing. I see a guy trying to squeeze through a bend in a straight. Say if you have a right-handed bend going down the straight, and one guy's pushing through. When the bend comes up, the other guy's going in the bend. The other guy pushes through and over the corner and pushes the other guy out of the way. And people go, racing incident. My ass, that's a racing incident. When the bend started to occur, the other car did not have position. He pushed his way through a corner so he was even with him at the corner, the median apex of the corner, which means the center position of the corner, if you don't know what that means, and then pushed the other guy out. That's not a racing incident, folks. I see so much of that. Racing incident. Racing incident, my ass. Racing incident is caused by a few things. Caution happens in front of you and you have a car that got pile drived. That car comes spinning back on the track and hits some poor guy that's coming around and actually taking caution, slowing down and everything else, but still gets hit. That's a racing incident. But still, even so, the initial incident was caused by someone that hit the other car to cause him, unless the guy just spun off the track and then back on the track, then it's his fault. But if, say, he gets pile drived, that initial guy that did the pile driving, that was from behind. That was his fault. So even a racing incident between two other cars was caused by the original guy. And that could be usually figured out pretty easily. That's pretty much it for these. I think they're pretty important rules, and they're rules that people should pay attention to. More leagues, whether you're in iRacing, ACC, AC, Race Room, whatever. These are leagues you should be using. don't use F1 racing rules for sports car racing. To me, that's worse etiquette than breaking any of these rules, because you're causing issues by using fantasy rules. Hopefully that helped you, and whoever happened to watch this and you're thinking about starting a league, or you're thinking about rearranging your own league rules, or you're weighing out whether you like the rules in your present league and maybe want to find someplace else because you think, questioning, what are the actual rules? What are the real rules? I have 3 videos like this. One's about the flags, one's about passing and passing etiquette and how you should pass in real life and in sim racing. I suggest checking those videos out. They're accurate. They're called like Racing 101 or something like that. Just click on my videos and watch. I hope you have a great day. Hope people get something out of this.